What's up, guys? This is Hit You Good, and today we're going to be answering the question, is it still worth it to buy and play Black Ops 2 in 2025? If you want to support your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer, please hit the subscribe button below, like this video, and comment in the comment section and let me know some of the cool memories you have of this awesome installment of the franchise. But for now, let's dust off this old game, pop open some Juggernog, and dolphin dive right back in to what some call the greatest COD game of all time, Black Ops 2. I'm going to try to be objective here, but this was one of my two favorite Call of Duty games from back in the day. I spent dozens of hours racking up kills, calling in kill streaks, and just enjoying the chaotic fun that was BO2. It was the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, where life was so much better than we really thought it was. Macklemore was hitting up some sweet deals at the thrift shop, Robin Thicke was blurring some lines, and everyone I knew was busting out into the Harlem Shake. Or the Harlem Shuffle? Did we ever figure that out? Anyways, YOLO was a thing and then quickly wasn't, and the online community couldn't get enough of posting ridiculously long hashtags that wouldn't show up in anyone's search history or trending sections, but it was fun nonetheless. And Black Ops 2 was an integral part of that 2013 culture. The hype for this game exploded in October 2012 when Treyarch expanded on the live-action trailer sequences Black Ops 1 introduced and took the "there's a soldier in all of us" mantra to a whole new level. What an awesome live-action trailer! Robert Downey Jr., FPS Russia, and nearly a dozen others had us pretty dang amped up for the next installment of Black Ops, and for good reason too, because this game was an outright banger. So back in the day, I was so excited about the multiplayer, as were many of my friends, that I actually didn't even play the campaign. I wanted to get right into the action because all my friends were online and they were waiting for me to get online. So I think I played the first few missions, but then the lure of calling in epic kill streaks and hitting nasty headshots was just far too much. I had to play multiplayer because it was so much fun. But this has allowed a more mature version of myself to enjoy the campaign today. Right off the bat, we get to see a whole lot more of badass extraordinaire Frank Woods, even if he does seem a little bit past his prime. And yeah, there are some cringy moments of total forced exposition, especially from Woods, and some cheap dialogue early on too.
You're 7 years old, David. Stop acting like a baby.
But don't get me wrong, some parts of these games are absolutely immersive, realistic, and believable.
Go around back. She's so fucking pissed.
While others, not so much. Oh my God.
All senior units of the United States Navy have been instructed.
They had Hillary as president.
Menendez's drone attacks.
Oh man, that's I'll tell you what, it's a good thing that old Hillary here only wants to disarm the local populace of law-abiding gun owners and not her private security detail. Otherwise, this mission would have been pretty dang rough. But anyways, we play along two story arcs throughout the game, one following the path of Frank Woods, recounting his encounters with the game's villain, Raul Menendez, and the other arc following Alex Mason's son, David Mason, as they work to track down Menendez in the modern day before he executes his diabolical plan to take over the US's automated drone system and turn it on the American populace. When we first find Woods, oh, I gotta tell you, our boy has seen some better days. But we find out that he had been captured by Angola's Marxist government while assisting the rebellion uprising in the country. And here, we are introduced to one of the Marxist military officers, Menendez. Now, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed by this story's antagonist. Menendez, while imperfect, is a really well thought out villain for the franchise. He's vengeful, and he's pretty much willing to go to any lengths to execute his purpose. He retains an empathetic air through the whole game. Even though we know he's an evil SOB, we at least know why.
It was taken from me. Do you know what that feels like yet? An American torched the warehouse. For insurance money, $11,000. That was the value they placed on her life. She was the reason for me to live. What about you? What drives you?
He's not some crazed lunatic that just wants to kill people for the sake of killing people. He has a story. There's a reason behind his actions. There's a reason of why he does what he does. He's not just being evil because, well, players need someone to shoot at or try to capture. His story is one of vengeance. He hates the American West because his sister, Josephina, who he was very close with, became gravely injured in a case of arson caused by some corrupt American businessman seeking a quick dollar through an insurance payout. Then, gas gets thrown on that fire as the CIA assassinates Menendez's father, who is a powerful leader of a major drug cartel. And then on top of all that, it's made much worse after Frank Woods inadvertently kills Raul's sister with a hand grenade as they assault Menendez's compound. This explanation allows for Menendez to be a very well fleshed out and sinister character that you have a real incentive to go after. And through Wood's storytelling and your first-hand accounts of playing as David Mason, the game does a fantastic job of immersing you in this mission, even to the point of giving you the choice if you're going to accidentally assassinate Alex Mason while playing as Woods. Jeez, man, these old games don't hold back. Menendez ends up crippling Woods and kills Hudson, slinking back into the shadows for 30 years before re-emerging as the leader of an internet-based cult-like group known as Chorus Dia. Anyways, to make a long story short, and not going through every single level, Menendez operates as a puppet master, so to speak, goading the Chinese and American governments into going to war with each other. This story plays out like an epic cinematic, and not only is it epic, but I couldn't believe it that a COD game actually had replayability. I was shocked. There's so many little things here and there that change all sorts of small details in the world you're playing in, some huge and consequential, and some not so much. For instance, in the level Achilles Veiled, one of the game's main characters, Harper, gets captured. At the time, you're playing as an undercover agent, Farid, when Menendez gives you a choice to kill Harper or not. Now, if you decide to kill him and protect your cover, Harper's just no longer in the game. The entire rest of the game, he's gone. And arguably main character, or at least a very prominent sidekick that you've been fighting alongside for a significant amount of time, he's gone. It's quite jarring. And on the other hand, if you decide to not kill Harper and attempt to assassinate Menendez, Farid, the character you're playing as, gets killed, leaving Harper a chance at escape. On the other hand, there's tons of small details as well that I thought were really cool for the devs to take the time to include in the game. For instance, in Fallen Angel, if you didn't dodge the flames at the end of the mission, Harper ends up getting burned and spends the rest of the game looking like a half-cooked hamburger. Even in the next mission, other characters make reference to his face.
You know, if this wasn't an op, I believe I'd give myself a little hot chick action here.
You're forgetting Pakistan? Your face don't look too good, Harper.
Hey, it's not the face, it's the body they're gonna be after.
Now, you can't find anything that detailed in today's AAA titles, or at least not a whole lot of them. The devs really did take their time into making a Class A game, and this permeates itself throughout everything in the campaign story. At the start of every single level, you had a choice of what guns, lethals, tacticals, even perks that you wanted to take into the next mission. And one particular perk, Access, allowed you, well, access to all sorts of different areas where you could pick up bear traps, mortars, Molotov cocktails, and even an ancient Arabic sword, which was pretty dang cool.
What the hell are you gonna do with that?
You never know.
And the more you use these weapons or traps or tools, the more unlocks you get in the after mission summary screen. And for instance, like in the game's first level, you'd think you just found bear traps, but you got even more rewards when you combine them with mortars for some extra explosive kills. You got rewarded for going off the beaten path and using different tactics to defeat your enemies. This kept everything extremely fresh and interesting as it turned each level from just, being a shooting gallery into something you really wanted to explore and try to find the game's secrets. You hardly see that anywhere nowadays, and yet Treyarch executed it masterfully nearly a decade ago. You didn't just habitually jump into an on-rails turret section every second or third level like in Modern Warfare 3. You utilized drones, you took control of huge robot killing machines called claws, you flew jets, even this little spider gadget you used to nearly gouge this guy's eyes out to infiltrate a high-level security clearance area. And yes, at times, some of this goes just a little over the top. Some of the technology can feel a little gimmicky, such as using this mechanic to scale these cliffs that you'll never use again in the game. I mean, we get it, it's the future. We have nice toys, but sometimes I think Treyarch goes a little overboard on this, but it's not too much to take away from the story. What makes this campaign a success is that not everything is explosions and firefights. The pacing is almost always on point. It builds tension, and the ebb and flow of that tension drew me in. It encouraged me to be more immersed and buy into the story of what was going on. For instance, in Fallen Angel, you got extra rewards for doing a better job at surveillance when listening in on Menendez and his conversation. It wasn't kicking doors in, capturing so-and-so and interrogating and shooting your way out. You crept through the shadows long enough to get all the dirty deets of Menendez's plan. It was creative in how you went about completing your missions and executing your tasks. Like in the mission Karma, it really did feel like I was infiltrating this top secret stronghold. Walking through the lobbies of this resort, listening to the characters banter back and forth, and even hearing Harper get turned down from this hot chick because his hamburger face wasn't only hilarious, it was absolutely immersive.
How you doing, beautiful?
Screw you, jerk.
And who could forget one of the coolest missions in Call of Duty where all hell breaks loose on a dance floor. There's slow motion action sequences, there's a 2013 dubstep that's just blasting in the background. It was nothing less than cinematic and one of my favorite missions of the entire game. And then on top of all this, you had task force side missions that put you in charge of all sorts of mechanized war machines, drones, and different units of men. Now, I'm not really sure if it was 100% executed as well or as tactical as it could have been. I didn't feel like it was quite as strategic as the developers wanted it to be, mainly because a lot of times I found it more useful to stop commanding each unit and just jump into the action myself and take care of business, which isn't really what these were made for, or I don't feel like that's what they were trying to go for. It seemed like a lot of times that all these extra men, all this extra equipment, the drones and everything was kind of something else for the enemies to shoot at that wasn't me, which still, useful. Nonetheless, each one of these missions are a fun departure from the main story, and yet the outcomes of these missions weigh differently on your campaign and what happens. If you succeeded in a mission, well, great. If things didn't go your way, though, no, you didn't reload a save. You dealt with the consequences, and it had some impact later on in the campaign. It felt like everything mattered through the entire process. It made you want to do the right things. It made you not want to screw up. It wasn't a completely on-rails linear experience, and you could fail. And when you fail, the game oftentimes still moves on. You don't reload a checkpoint. You have to deal with your failure, or at least your decisions. For instance, when you have a choice to kill Kravchenko or let him live, if you kill him, you miss out on information that there's a CIA mole operating behind the scenes, but you also get the satisfaction of putting a bullet through his head. As the game's tension rises, the action towards the end makes sense and feels right. I know in Modern Warfare 3 it often felt like most of the game was just action for action's sake, just more explosions, more gunfire, more everything. But in Black Ops 2, the action matched the storyline perfectly. The sense of we gotta do something is carried through once you see New York skyline lit up with drones, smoke, and destruction. Because the developers took the time to build up to this climax, you feel the urgency and weight behind the situation. And because the story carries the game, the cinematics don't have to. Now don't get me wrong, the cinematics are freaking epic. They're great and they're the icing on the cake, but they don't carry the weight of the game's success. The story does. And I wish that's something that today's game developers would understand. When it comes down to it, I was completely blown away by the amount of choice, attention to detail, and how bought into this campaign I was compared to most of the other AAA titles of today. To put this experience into one word, it would be fun. Just plain, outright fun. I came home from work every day actually looking forward to playing and progressing through the story. It wasn't just getting content for the next video. I genuinely enjoyed this title. Why I didn't play this 8 years ago, I have no idea, but I'm glad I played it today and I got to see the Black Ops story play out and what actually happened to Dragovich, Kravchenko, Steiner, and ultimately Menendez. And then there's a half a dozen different endings you can choose from, whether you let Menendez go or kill him right there. They've all got drastically different outcomes that weigh on what you did, and each one offers a compelling reason to play the game again and see all the intricate details the devs spent countless hours working on. The campaign is at least bare minimum an 8 out of 10, possibly even a 9. This is excellent work, Treyarch. I mean, this is how you put a campaign together. It was fantastic. Now, moving on to the multiplayer, can you still find matches today? That's going to be the biggest question. I can tell you, if you're on PC, just forget it. Forget it. And if you do find a lobby, It's going to be hacked. I've heard different from console players saying they can still find matches. However, if you're on PC, there is still hope for you, and I'll put a link in the description below showing you how you can log back on the Black Ops 2 multiplayer and get a hell of a nostalgia hit, and I think it's worth it. Your ticket is called Plutonium. This is a server hosting software that allows you access to online zombies mode and a decent amount of Black Ops 2 servers. Once you have this set up, you'll also have access to Modern Warfare 3 servers as well. And it does take a decent minute to set up, but on the website, the instructions they're pretty straightforward, pretty easy to follow, but it's not as simple as just pushing download and hopping into a match. You're going to have to want to set it up and go through the necessary steps to do so. But once you're in, I gotta admit, the reliability of some of these servers isn't quite up to par. I'd spend plenty of time getting booted after a match and not being able to rejoin that server, which leads me to trying to find one with low enough ping and a map rotation that isn't just Nuketown and Hijacked over and over and over all the time. I'm not sure why anybody would want to go back to an 8-year-old game just to play the same 2 maps on repeat for hours. That just really doesn't make sense to me. If I had a server, you can bet it'd be all the maps on rotate all the time, and I'd want to have that experience I had back in 2013 and still enjoy that variety. But that's just me. Some people are really into those 2 maps and they just want to play those 2 all the time. I don't get it, but whatever. But the truth is, you can still hop on and find some decent lobbies and enjoy the craziness that is Black Ops 2 multiplayer. Me and my friends spent dozens of hours on this game. There was no more fun to be had than running around standoff, racking up kills, playing gun game in Yemen, or gunning down Christmas noobs on Plaza. Black Ops 2 introduced the Pick 10 system, which is awesome. It gave us an unprecedented variety of choice and customization. You want to run around with a pistol and every single perk in the game? Hey, go for it. It's up to you. As a matter of fact, I remember one awesome setup me and my buddy would run on Domination. Our primary weapon would be the Riot Shield. We'd have a double time for a perk and anything else that helped us get to the B flag just a little bit faster. 2 smoke grenades and 2 trophy systems would almost always guarantee we'd take B at the beginning of every match, every time. Rush the point, throw smokes everywhere, plant that shield in the ground, throw down the 4 trophy systems between us, and go prone. It'd work every time. And I would change my name to Mall Cop number 1, and he'd be Mall Cop number 2. Running around with riot shields. It was pretty funny. Oh man, I almost forgot this. Loading into gun game with absolutely no intention of winning, only knifing people. Because as you know, it would demote them to the previous gun. I could still hear it now. Humiliation. And then cussing on the game chat about how they just got past the crossbow only to get demoted again. And if I considered a win for me was running clock out where nobody won. You had somebody in the lead, but nobody ever got to the final one. That means I could be satisfied in myself that I did my job. But man, those were some really good times. I want you to leave a comment below and share some of your similar memories if you got them. And then on top of that, we had some of the most wicked looking camos ever. My younger self probably appreciated these a lot more than I would today. But finally getting that DSR sniper rifle coated in diamonds was a real flex on your opponents who just got the game while you had been on a 5-week-long Mountain Dew Lay's Call of Duty binge because you were 18 and can buy it before all the irresponsible parents gave their 12-year-olds an M-rated game for Christmas a month later. This was the point where COD finally became serious in the competitive market as well, where you could actually choose to participate in skill-based matchmaking with a ranked mode. What an awesome concept there, Activision. Give us a choice. At least if you decided to participate in the ranked mode, you got rewarded for it. This has even further escalated the COD scene into global championships and dreams of millions of naive kids thinking they could grow up making a living as a professional video game player. But I really can't find anything I dislike about the multiplayer experience at all. It's all pretty on point. I remember one awesome feature of the game was the theater mode, which opened up all kinds of options to share awesome in-game moments with your friends and a plethora of tools for content creators. You'll notice the quality of this footage is absolute crap that I've got playing in the background, and that's because I could not find a way to record this off of my old PS3, but these are some actual moments that I recorded way back in the day. And yeah, sure, I had a 0.8 KD, but if you can have a negative KD and yet still have an awesome time, you know the devs did something right. I actually sucked at this game on console. It's much easier on PC, but we love this stuff so much. We went to sleep, you know, either with the background music playing, or to the antics of KY Speedy trolling people in the background. I hope you remember old Speedy. He's still around with largely the same crew, but I think his real golden era was back in Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Black Ops 2. His channel produced some serious laugh your ass off content.
Attention, the following video is going to totally kick ass. If you enjoy any of it and or have a large penis, please click the like button below. Enjoy.
And I just remember him exclusively being my favorite content creator to watch. So before you click off this video, even if you don't watch it to the end, link some videos in the comments below of some old school creators that you used to love back then. Maybe there's a particular video that you thought was hilarious back then. I'm sure there's plenty that I haven't seen. I'd like to see them. Multiplayer. I tell you, I've got to give it about a 9.5 out of 10. It was dang near perfect, and fortunately, you can still hop on and relive some of those old moments. It's not exactly how it used to be, but dang, it's still fun. If you've got a copy, I highly recommend it. And lastly, my only complaint with this game, like, this is the one that's going to split everyone, and I realize I'm probably in the minority on this one, but dang, developers, y'all's zombie mode was absolutely ridiculous. Is it too much to ask just to be able to see my screen? Can I do that? Can I just get rid of all this crap, all this fog, all this smoke, all this fire, everything is just floating around just so I can at least see the zombie that's about to eat my face? Can I do that? And of course, you might be thinking, if you really like this zombies mode, you might be thinking that, well, Hitch hates the game because he sucks at it. And you'd be absolutely right. I suck at Black Ops 2 Zombies, and I'm proud. The maps were just awful. And that's probably why I didn't play it long enough to get good at it, because I just didn't like the maps. We got Transit, where you had to decide between a time sink of watching the entire Lord of the Rings Extended Edition saga or a bunch of YouTube videos explaining all the weird shit you had to do to progress through this freaking game. Like, what the hell is this? What is this? It doesn't make any sense! And then the game takes away choice by either forcing you to hop on the bus at a specific time or be left to wander through the waste. Remember not being able to see anything, with these little bastards hopping on your head every 15 seconds and obscuring your view even further than it already was. It was just totally, utterly unnecessary. Now, I actually enjoyed Black Ops 1 Zombies, where we just got to load in, do a few quirky things here and there, and get the power on and everything, but the main objective was shooting and killing zombies, not crafting old lawnmowers into sentry turrets. For real, I mean, how does that even work? And then on Die Rise, you had all of 100 square feet to run around, very, very small map, and you were constantly forced to jump over each little crack in the pavement so your screen didn't burst into flames. Treyarch, why is this shit necessary? Why? Just let me see my screen. Anyways, this was pretty much the only place where I truly did not enjoy Black Ops 2, but in my opinion, the rest of the game absolutely slaps. Now, like I do on several of these old school game reviews, I like to think back and kind of reminisce on what was happening in my life during that time. I like to look back at how each of these games flavored my experience. I believe I was 21 at the time, and it was just before the time I left my parents' house to go out on my own. I was deeply involved in politics, and of course, if you watch this channel and you actually watch these videos to the end, you do know that I'm still deeply involved in politics, and I have been for probably the past 12 years. But I remember that was probably a time where I was getting my political YouTube channel going through some admittedly pretty awful content just because I didn't know anything about YouTube's algorithms or video production. But we had just finished up with the 2012 elections and desperately needed a distraction from Obama taking another 4 years. But I mean, looking back, I'm not that butthurt about it because Romney was just absolutely awful. He was crap. I didn't know that at the time, but you know what? If you're gonna have an awful president, I'd rather him not be waving my flag. You know what I mean? And so this is the time where we kind of dusted ourselves off and got back to activism, even though we were discouraged. And Black Ops 2 was exactly what I needed to distract me from that work. On top of working a 40-hour-week job and being as involved as I was, going to all these meetings, going to rallies, reading a slew of history and political books, it was so nice to just boot up the PS3 when I got home and just disconnect for a while. Sit back and watch something less serious like KY Speedy or the latest best loadout to try my class setup. Black Ops 2 and video games in general have offered that kind of distraction for me for years, and I'm truly grateful because, well, I may have lost my mind by now. But that leads us to our final question. Should you buy and play Black Ops 2 today? Well, if you already own the game, the obvious choice is yes, especially if you want a nostalgia hit or you just want to play through the campaign again, which is totally worth it. But that answer does get a lot more fuzzy if you don't have a copy. Now, I'm on PC, and if I wanted to record anything for this video, I had to go buy the game. And holy crap, Activision. While EA's selling their outdated games that are actually still really good for like $10 and they've still got a player base, you got to pay out around $45 to get Black Ops 2 game key. And if you order it right off Steam, you're still stuck paying the exact same price that the game was the day it came out, a whopping 60 bucks. And that doesn't even include the expansion packs that cost $15 a piece that, let's be honest, nobody's playing. I can only imagine how much healthier COD's old servers would be if there was just a lower cost to access the game. Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, even Battlefield 3 have some healthy player counts, but then again, Activision knows that if we're playing these older games, then we aren't playing their latest and greatest thrown together shoot 'em up microtransaction experience. With all this in mind, if you're on PC and you're not ravenous for a nostalgia trip down memory lane, I'd say you might want to give a pass on this one. It's $45 to $60 depending on where you go, and you can just find better deals than that without having to go through hoops to get to the plutonium servers that in the end aren't all that reliable. But if this video really makes you long for those days, makes you want to run through the campaign again, makes you want to take a ride on the transit bus and zombies, yeah, you might want to consider it. But either way, Black Ops 2 was that one game that we seem to highlight as the end of the Call of Duty golden era. For the past few years, COD had just been laying out hit after hit after hit, only to later just crap out forgettable titles like Ghost with their super realistic dog skins and fish that swim out of the way when you get close to them. And don't forget the masterpiece of Black Ops 3 and 4 with their wall-running super soldiers. Yeah, that sounds exactly like the traditional COD experience that we all grew up loving, right? I don't think so. Most of the community agrees that Black Ops 2 was the last great COD that kept us up for hours, way past our bedtime, and sometimes till the next morning. It was fun, it was immersive, and it was a part of the culture back in 2013, and I for one miss it. Those days were so much better than they thought they were, so if you get the chance to fire up your old console or the PC, watch some old theater footage you recorded back in the day. Go through your old class setups and remember those sick kill streaks you pulled off with that one awesome try-hard setup. Go back to 2013 and enjoy the times when bills didn't matter, only homework. That, let's be honest, ultimately probably didn't get done because of this game. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this in-depth review, and if you did, let me know in the comments section below, and also share some of your fondest Black Ops 2 memories. I definitely want to hear them. And don't forget to subscribe to your favorite all-American freedom-loving gamer for more content like this. God bless, and happy gaming.